Hi. And welcome back to Just Breathe, Kelsey. I know I look different, don't I? Don't I? I really do. I'm gonna turn up the light here a little bit. There we go. Now you can see me. Yeah, I look different, I look good. Um that's not what I wanted to come on here about. So, a lot has been going on. I feel like I say that in every video, but a lot has been going on. Uh, I did record a video a while ago, and it was a negative video. It was a lot of ranting and a lot of bad talk, and I don't want to put that out there like for the world, even if nobody really sees it. I just didn't feel comfortable posting it, so I was like, well, my Holy Spirit let me like sit on it for a few days, and then came to the conclusion that I wasn't gonna post it, which I'm not mad. I don't think my intentions was to post it anyway, but sometimes I get on here and I'll record a video, and it's it's either a like a legit something I'm gonna post, or just I wanted to have footage of whatever. So yeah. So I decided not to post it. And it's for the best, cuz a lot of things, like I said, I when I recorded it, I wasn't in the best of mood, and it was a lot of anger and a lot of, I don't know if I was bad mouthing people, but I wasn't in the best of mood. Today I'm in a really good mood. Yesterday I was in a great mood. I don't know why, but yesterday I was in such a great mood. And then today it's like, I'm in a good mood. So why not? Why not just do a video and post it and whatever? But how are you? Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. So let me cut to the chase. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That's how you know I'm in a good mood, because I'm goofy and giggly and stuff. But I wanted to get on here because I'm in the process of creating slash writing my next book. I know. And it's nonfiction, but some of the stories I'm gonna be telling will have like fiction elements to it, just because I I will be explaining certain things that have happened in my life, and there's a lot of things that have happened in my life that I haven't told family members, or nobody really knows about. There's only like a few people that know um, certain things that have happened to me when I was a child, and things of that nature. So, in order to protect the identity of the person slash people that were involved, I'm going to change names and change circumstances and just a little bit of the background, because I feel like if I were to say who, how, when, where, people would put the two and two together. And I don't want that to happen. Um, and I know that telling that story, it would, one, release me, and also release that person and the the weight that they have on me. Um, but I've told a person that needed to hear it. Now, I didn't get the response I wanted or I felt like I deserved, but also at the same time, like, I needed to get it out. And I did make a promise to myself that I was going to tell somebody, even though it didn't work out the way I wanted to. But overall, I still don't feel comfortable enough to tell anyone else. And I don't know if necessarily um, certain family members would be okay with that. And granted, yeah, it is my story to tell, but it's telling it would open up a lot of can of worms and a lot of things would change. And I just don't want to go through that whole thing and it be a whole mess. So that's why there's going to be certain things that will be fictional ish, but it'll still be nonfiction because, like I said, it is based on my life. So a little bit about the book is based on me. um, it's honestly how I'm going to structure it. I still don't know the name or like the title of the book I'm gonna do, but how I'm going to structure it is basically it'll be like my journal. So I write in a journal, you know, I don't write in my journal every day. Like I don't do a journal entry every day, excuse me. I do maybe a brain dump every day. And that's just quick, like, oh, this guy he paid for my pastry today and he was really cute, you know, or like the other night I went to Burrito King, which is a Mexican well, is it 24 hours? It's like a late night Mexican joint here in Kansas. And um I gave the guy $50. And when he gave me my change back, I was looking at it and I was like, that's not my change. And he was kind of trying to argue with me, saying that I gave him a 20 and not a 50. And long story short, they gave me my change correct. But like I wrote down, I almost had a situation at Burrito King. So like little spurts here and there, things that I don't want to necessarily go too much into detail. That's what I put in my brain dump of just like little things that happen throughout the day and just how I feel about it. With my journal entries, I go a little bit more in depth of like if there was something or someone did something that affected me during the week. And I'm like, I really want to do an entry on it. And I go through the whole process of that. Then a journal entry is more in depth than a brain dump. Now, I don't do brain dumps. I haven't done a brain dump consistently as I have in the past, just because there's not really like a lot that I'm really wanting to go over, I guess. I don't know. But I haven't been doing my brain dumps. But anyway, back to the book, because that's the main thing. But basically, this book is going to be like my journal. I'm going to have letters, like actual letters that I've written out. Now, I don't know if I'll like redo letters or actually have like the real letters that I've written in it. I feel like the more authentic would be actual letters that I've written like in the time. So one situation, I think I've talked about it and I think I've given this person's nickname out. When I had my harassment case at work, the guy that harassed me, I gave him the nickname of Clark Kent. And I'll explain the reason why I gave him Clark Kent. So we know that Clark Kent essentially is Superman. 1 minute he's Superman, he puts the glasses on, he's a different person. And that's basically the reason why I gave him this name. Because dude was married. And I didn't know it until he didn't carry himself like a married man. I'll just say that. But some way, somehow, I found out that he was married. And he didn't move like a married man at all. And anyway, I gave him the nickname Clark Kent. So when that situation, well, I guess leading up to the situation, he would always make like little comments and things like that. And I wrote in my journal, I wrote him a letter stating that, hey, thank you for expressing interest in me, but with you being married, it's a no. And also explaining, like, I really would like to, but you're married, and my heart wouldn't feel right of doing that. So like putting that in there, the letter that I wrote to him that I never gave him. And even, during the process and even after that whole sexual harassment thing, I wrote letters to him. And like I said, never gave it to him. It just stuck in my journal. So writing or putting that in the book, something that's authentic to me. And even now, just how the way he dealt with me and the situation, and even just the aftermath of it, writing that, because even though it was last year, technically it was 2023 into 2024. As much as I want to get the image of him and just what he did out of my mind, it's still embedded in me. It might not be as embedded in me as it was when it first happened, but it still affects me to this day. And I'm not asking for sympathy, but when something like this happens, it makes you question not just yourself, but just everyone around you. So writing that, and then also just certain things that gone on in my life, like people assuming that I'm gay because I didn't wear dresses, or I wasn't crushing over boys in high school or middle school, or I wasn't dating boys in high school or middle school. Like it's the more like I realize and remember, there's a lot of things in my life that have happened, and I can understand why I am a little, ooh, well, let's not do a therapy session. But anyway, that's the reason why I'm writing the book, is I'm making it like a journal. Now, some of it might not be in a journal format. It would more so be like the one chapter I did was Sunset, and it was talking about the day my aunt passed away. It was just like not fully into details because I think I was like 6 or 7 when she passed. So like I said, not going into full detail, but just enough to like get the juices flowing. And once I get to the point where I want to edit and put more, add more, so be it. But like right now, I just am writing it out, and then later on, if I decided to either keep it, make changes, or whatever, then that's up to future Kelsey. But just things like that, being the shy kid in school, not really having friends, turning to books to be my friend, and then what's another one? My many crushes and what they've taught me, my first sexual experience. I don't know if I'm gonna go fully into detail with that, but just just how it affects me, and even now, just being a Christian woman and walking in faith and believing God and trusting God, and even the grief of losing my mom, and just turning to substances. Well, I shouldn't say substances, but like turning to weed to cope and drinking and being set free because I I was kind of sheltered growing up, and I don't know if it was necessarily like something that my mom wanted to do. I think it was more so of something that I felt like I needed to do. I my mom never really kept me at the house. Not saying that I couldn't really go anywhere. Like she would let me go somewhere. I just I just think that with the circumstances that was going on, I felt like I needed to be home for just in case something happened. Just because my dad and my brother wasn't home, and I just didn't want anything to happen to my mom while I was gone, so I just stayed home. I was sheltered. I didn't go anywhere. So explaining that, writing that down. Um Basically, and I'm not like a big poetry person. I don't think I'm poetic. But I feel like I'm a good storyteller. So it will comprise or the the book that I'm writing will be a compilation of short stories, poems, and letters, and just anything that I see fit. I don't have a title for the book, nor do I have a cover. I think I have an idea on what I want the cover to be, and I honestly I will give credit to two people, but mainly I'll give one credit to one person. My Holy Spirit actually put it on my heart and was like, why don't you, well, the thought of writing a book and making it about me popped up in my mind. And I take that as the Holy Spirit telling me that that's that's something that they recommend me doing. I was talking to, I guess, a coworker, and I was telling him because I was in heat. I was in heat bad. I need a moment. I was in heat. I just look at something and was tempted. And nobody really talks about that. When you're in that phase of your cycle coming and you just are ovulating and a pair of glasses look good. It was but no, I was in heat bad. Like I've been in heat before, but this one I was just like and I'm single, and I'm I'm wanting to do right. I'm wanting to wait. I'm not trying to jump on anybody, but at that point in time, I was willing to risk it all. I really was. I've been celibate for, and I mean celibate as far as like not having sex with anybody. Like I was fooling around with one guy, but we never had sex. Um, so I would say a solid, I would say a solid 2.5 years I've been celibate. Now, if you want to count masturbation, I technically have to restart. But even with like masturbation, I about a year and a half, somewhere around there. But anyway, um, but yeah, no, I've been wanting to stay on the straight and narrow with that. Like, I really want to wait until I'm in a relationship with somebody that I can see myself being with and being married to. Um, but there was a reason I was bringing that up. Oh, I was saying that, like, writing about that experience of, like, crushing on this guy and being in heat. Oh, but writing the experience about being in heat and crushing on this guy and really wanting him to, like, take initiative and be like that, and just explaining that whole process and just doing that, because I feel like a lot of people talk about the guys going through, but nobody really talks about the women going through it. I mean, they do, and they might talk about it like on a podcast and things like that, but never really in a book. And I feel as though that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to write this story. And I mean, so I can see myself writing out my life in book form and probably just putting it up, just because, like, a lot of the stories I have to dive deep. Like, my first sexual abuse, I have to dive deep and essentially relive it, and one, humanize me, but also humanize the person that did it. You know what I'm saying? Because at the time, I assume the person didn't know what they were doing. You know, I don't know. And being older and being around this person, or even just living and understanding life on my own, I don't necessarily sympathize with this person, but I'm humanizing them and understanding, like, wow, maybe them doing it wasn't malicious, but they wanted to feel love. And that's maybe that's how they wanted to feel loved or cared for or protected. I don't know. Or who's to say that that person was getting messed with by somebody older and they thought that that was okay. I don't know. I can't speak for that person, but I can humanize them. Now, I'm not saying that what they did was right, or I'm not saying that what they did should have happened, but I can't be mad at a person who at the time probably didn't know what they were doing. Yeah, they were older, but we were kids. So again, it wasn't out of maliciousness. I think that that person wanted to feel and show love, and I feel like that's how they felt like that's what they needed to do. Now, that's a controversial topic, but I'm going to get off of it because I don't want to go too long on it. Because like I said, you know, people start putting things together. I don't need nobody sitting up here being like, oh, I know who she talking about. She talking about, no. No. But but that's one of the stories I'm gonna do. But I feel like there is a lot of Christians, people of faith, that feel exactly how I feel, especially when, you know, your hormones are not necessarily out of whack, but are just on 10, and you want to do right, you want to walk in faith, you want to have obedience, you want to do the right thing. And living in this world, you know, there's vices, there's things that are excuse me, in your face so much that you're just like, oh my goodness, I am to my breaking point. I'm really wanting to do right by God. I want to do right by myself. I want to wait. I want to I want to have self-control. But this urge and this feeling is hindering my self-control, that I feel like if anybody touches me, it's on like Donkey Kong. Like I'm ready to risk it all. And I feel that there is a lot of stories that need to be told on that, in a respectful way, not a salacious way. And that's one of the reasons why I feel like this book is a stepping stone to me maybe creating that book. I don't know how I would I don't know how I would structure it. I don't know how I would frame it. Um and I feel as though me writing out certain events and certain things that have happened in my life, and even to this day, things that are going on in my life, me writing it down would at least, it'll at least put a fire in my creative mind to at least get the story going and starting to get those wheels turning. Like I said, I don't see myself releasing this book within the next year. My journal entry book, within the next year. I feel like it's probably something that probably won't get published or won't be close to finished until I'm like 35, close to 40 years old, maybe even 50. I don't know, 45. Like, because I still got life to live. So I'm still young. I mean, there's people that have lived more than I have, and they're 20 years old. But I'm still learning. I'm still technically, like right now, I'm living, you know? So I feel I'm giving myself grace on that book. So anything that pops up is going to be a part of the story, or, whatever. So, but anyway, um, but the second person I give credit to is my coworker. I was telling him about me being in heat and having these urges and not really being able to like release them or take care of them in a way. Is kind of like just me sitting there, and I don't know if suffering is the right word, but like basically just feeling the arousal and just letting it surpass, because I can't masturbate. Like, I can't release that tension. I can't release that sexual energy. I can't go to Josiah and, you know, have sex with him. I mean, we're not married. We're not in a relationship. I don't feel comfortable of going up to a stranger and be like, hey, let's go somewhere and have a good time. Or even going up to someone that I'm attracted to and I have a relationship with, as far as like a friendship, and being like, hey, you got 5 minutes? Let's go to your car. Like, I can't do that. I can, but I'm choosing not to, because I'm telling myself that I want to wait for my husband, or I want to wait for my life partner. I want to wait for my partner. I want to wait for the person that God has for me. So I was telling him that. And he was like, well, why don't you just write down how you're feeling? Or write out a scene. If you and, because I told him I had a crush on this dude at work. And we're going to talk about it a little bit in this video. Ooh, that man is fine. Okay? Get out of my business. But anyway. But No, but he was like, well, why don't you like write out a scene? Like if it were to happen, why don't you write it out or just write out how you're feeling? And I was like, I have, and it's just not working. It's not working. But that really sparked. I mean, I wrote it out before he told me to write it, but him saying that, it sparked like maybe I should write out more stories of this predicament. So that's what made me kind of be like, oh, well, maybe I should do like a journal entry of my life, you know? And like I said, I can see myself writing out fully certain events that I do want to include in my book, and not necessarily scrapping it, but just putting it to the side. And uh, that's weird. I don't know if it caught on the mic, but there was something weird that happened outside. Anyway, but it's not something that I'm gonna just scrap. It would be more so of something that I would write out all of the information that I have now of what I can remember, and then just setting it off to the side and continuing it later on down the line, just because I still feel like I need to live a little more and experience things a little more. Like heartbreak. I don't think I've I don't think I've experienced romantic heartbreak that I know of. Uh Maybe I have, but not like not like an actual relationship. Like I was a girlfriend to this guy for X amount of years and then we broke up. Like I don't think I definitely have never had that type of heartbreak. I think I might have had something close to that, but not in a sense of that we were dating. Um I had a rejection heartbreak, I guess. I also had but I wouldn't consider them heartbreaks. The one guy I was fooling around with, we were talking, and he just abruptly just broke things off, and it was weird. Like we would be fine, and then he would be like, "No, I don't want to talk to you no more," and then it'd be like, "Oh," and then he'd be like, oh, like I care for you and I love, well, he didn't say I love you, but like I really like you and I want us to continue being in relationship. And it's like, okay, all right. And then in the next couple of weeks, oh, I don't want you to talk to me, goodbye. And it's like, wait, what? And just going through that roller coaster of emotions and the relationship factor. um like I said, I wouldn't consider that a heartbreak, but it was challenging. But even talking about that, uh just a lot of things that I would want to talk about in the story. And while also navigating this Christian walk and being in heat and sex and etc and porn and all the things. Even though that's not going to be like a vast majority of the book, it'll be like actual events that have happened in my life and how it affects me or how I see it now with adult eyes. um so yeah. So now, an entry into one of the chapters, I guess. So there's this guy I have a little crush on. No. But seriously, there is this guy at work that I'm attracted to. Um I'm gonna give him the nickname Dimples. He might know who he is, and that's perfectly fine. I have a lot of guys that have nicknames, and some do know their nicknames and others don't. He doesn't know his, but I'm pretty sure that if he heard the nickname I have for him, that he would know it was him. Um, so what I did was I put a note on his car, and at the time, you know, like I had seen him around, and like I was kind of attracted to him. I did think he was cute. And, you know, I was leaving, I was going home one night, and I just got this urge to put a note on his car. I knew what his car looked like. Nobody was around. The parking lot was empty. Nobody was up front, like changing trailers. Nobody could see me. There's not really any cameras in the parking lot. They say that there is, but if there is, like, it's not, they wouldn't have been able to see me. So I get to my car and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to leave a little note. So I tear out a piece of paper. I tried to make it to where nobody would realize like it was my paper because it had like a design on it or whatever. So I wrote, I think you're really cute. I put it in cursive and I stuck it on his window. Like I stuck it in between the windshield wiper and the window. And I went to my car and I got nervous. I got anxious. And I was like, man, I probably shouldn't have done that. And I did not. And as I was driving home, I was like, man, I really don't think I should have done that. Like, I was second guessing myself. I was like, I don't know. But there was a part of me that really didn't want him to find out that it was me. I wanted him to just like read it and just be like, oh, okay. You know? And I was like, you know what? I'm 30 years old. Well, was I 30 years old at this time? I think I just turned 30 or was about to turn 30. One of the two. But I was like, no, I want to stand 10 toes down on any decision I make, even if I'm not fully vested with it, like this car. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. And I ain't got enough time. But I was like, no, I really want to stand 10 toes down on this decision I'm making because at the end of the day, there's no harm, no foul. I mean, the least he could say is like, I'm not interested. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, you know, it is what it is. Cool. Fine. You're not my first rodeo. I've told I've told a guy that I liked him and he didn't like me back. He just wanted to be friends. And I was like, okay, yeah, I was sad. I cried about it. But at the same time, I can't make nobody like me. So, but, so I did that. And the next day, he was kind of, what do I want to say? I don't want to say he was playing it cool, but he didn't say anything. He seen me, he didn't say anything. He was pretty normal for the most part. And, you know, I went to work, did my normal thing, and I passed by the office where, I usually go in and I talk to the people there. We kind of crack up. We talk crap about, things at work or whatever. And one of the guys in the office was like, "You leaving notes on people's car now, Kelsey?" And I tried to play it off. I was like, "What are you talking about? What are you talking about?" And he was like, "You leaving notes on people's cars? Did you leave a note on type? Oh, did you leave a note on old boy's car?" And I was like, "Huh? Somebody leaving notes for him? Wow. Didn't know they was doing all that." And I couldn't keep a straight face. I could not keep a straight face. So eventually they found out that it was me. And long story short, kind of, I'm going to just fast forward to what's going on now. So me and dude are cool. And I'm going to just leave it at that. I'm not saying that we're on bad terms. I'm not saying that, that note has progressed to our undying love for each other. Even saying that seems so funny. But nothing has really changed, if that makes sense. Like, we have each other's number. I want to say he follows me or I follow him on Instagram. But it hasn't been like, "Oh, you want to go to the movies? Like, hey, I'm cooking. Would you like me to bring you something?" Like, it's not like a actual, we're progressing to be more than friends or even progressing to be friends. It's more so of just like, we work together. I give him a ride every once in a while to work, to and from work. So it's not like anything major. So now, mind you, I am attracted to this man. He's physically attractive and he has dimples, hence the nickname. And I am a person that finds dimples very attractive on a man. I don't know what it is about dimples, but I don't know. It just, and when I see his, oh my goodness, it does something to me. It does something to me. And plus, I like to see men smile, specifically black men smile. But I love seeing a man smile. But where was I going with that? Oh, so during this whole week of being in heat, I just was fantasizing about this man and just the things that we would be doing, what he do to me, what I do to him. Like, I was just so enamored by the thought of it that it just, man, it man. I was just, yeah. I can't even explain it. It was a lot. But I was enjoying it too. And I don't know. I can't explain it. I can't explain it. But your girl was going through it. But yeah. Yeah. So I want to say this, not this past week. Yeah. So before November, I had a conversation with him. Like, after he found out that I wrote the note, we kind of talked a little bit about it. but not like full in depth of it. So I decided to bring it up, and I asked him like, "Well, what did you think about it?" And he said he thought it was cute. Yeah, yeah. And I'm just like, I didn't want cute, but okay, whatever. Kind of low key upset that it was cute. It's not like, dang, you just thought it was cute. Like you didn't think it was like, oh man, it's Kelsey. What? Oh my gosh! Like you didn't get that. You didn't have that reaction. um, but no, seriously, you didn't have that reaction. Mm. But I listened. I heard him out. I wasn't pressing him or anything, but I did tell him that I didn't really have intentions of him when I wrote the note, and I'm gonna explain what I mean. When I wrote the note, like I said, I really didn't think that he would figure it was me. I guess I made it obvious. But like I didn't think that he would figure it out that it was me. One, I didn't think he was going to tell the guys in the office. But I guess anyway, or show the guys in the office, didn't necessarily tell. They actually put the pieces together and was like, that looked like Kelsey's handwriting. Snitches. But seriously, snitches. Anyway, I told him that I wasn't intending on him to like basically just want to be in a relationship with me or to like me right then and there. I think my intention for the note was just to just say it and do it. I've never done that before. Excuse me. And I wasn't expecting anything out of it because I didn't think after I did it, I was pretty much my spirit wasn't settled with it. Now, I don't know if that was more or less of my intuition, uh my intuition forecasting this moment right now, or if it was more so of that nerves of that will he, won't he, what will happen, what won't happen, will he figure it out, will he not figure it out, um what is to come of this, what's not to come of this, like things of that nature, you know what I mean? So I don't know what that feeling was, and I tried my best to ask my Holy Spirit as of what is this feeling I'm feeling, because I'm not settled. And when I'm not settled with something in my spirit, that means I either don't need to go along with it or something's going to happen and I can't control it. I wouldn't say it was like a panic attack or an anxiety attack, but it was it was anxious. It was definitely anxiousness, but also like maybe I shouldn't have done that. It's almost like opening Pandora's box where, there might be some good that comes out of it, but there's also some bad, and then there's also some maybes, or it's just like a very overwhelming feeling that you don't know whether it's a good or a bad feeling or that in between, or a life lesson. So, yeah. And I told him that I was like, even after I put it on your car, like I felt like I shouldn't have done it. Like I was unsettled with doing that. And you know, he gave me the answer I needed to hear. It's not the answer I wanted to hear. Um, and you know what the confusing part is? And it might not be more so the confusing part on him, but the confusing part for me is my Holy Spirit keeps telling me he likes me. That's all my Holy Spirit says. He likes you. He likes you. He likes you. And I'm like, see, I want to believe it's dude. I want to believe it's Dimples. But I feel like it's not Dimples. Like, I think he likes me in a sense of co-worker, which is perfectly fine. I can deal with that because I've had another co-worker that I was attracted to, and I never told him that I liked him. I think he had an idea that I liked him. I think he had an idea that I liked him, but it was never spoken. Um, but that's what's frustrating me because I'm like, okay, he likes me. Who are you talking about? Because you could be talking about the devil. Devil like everybody till he don't. Shoot. But I basically told my Holy Spirit, I said, I want it to be, oh boy, but I know it's going to be somebody that I am not thinking about that you are saying likes me. Because that's what you did with Buddha. Buddha is another nickname I gave to one of the guys that we was talking last year, and it did not end well. So his name is Buddha, among other things. But that's the nickname I gave him, was Buddha. But I was like, because you said that about Buddha, and I didn't think nothing of it. I kept pushing it off like, whatever. But I feel like you telling me somebody, but I ain't thinking of that person. And if it is, have them ask me out on a date. Okay? Like, that's the only way I'm going to actually believe that that's true. Even though there's been many of times that there's been situations that have actually came to pass. And yeah, my Holy Spirit ain't been wrong. But yeah. But that's the frustrating thing, because I think for me, now it's about to turn into a therapy session. This is not what I was intending on, girl. But I guess we here. I don't mind me discussing this though. That's fine. Because I feel like it's a true thing. It's what I'm experiencing right now. And I don't necessarily have a therapist that I can talk this through or even discuss this with. And that's a whole nother story. But I also think that a lot of people are going through that. Not just women, but also men too. And I'm gonna be real honest. There is a part of me that really does want Dimples to be like, I really do like you, Kelsey. I don't know if I'm necessarily ready for a relationship, but I would like for us to hang out a little more to see if that's something that I would want to go further in, or if I just want us to just continue being work friends or just friends in general, And that's the answer I would have liked to have gotten from him. Like I said, I told him, I said, I'm not like wanting you to tell me that you like me. Like you're not my first rodeo. Like I've told somebody that I liked them and they didn't like me. That's fine. I can't make anybody like me. And that's not what I'm trying to do. Like, I'm giving you rides and stuff like that. Like, I don't want you to feel like I'm doing all this so you like me. I'm just helping out a friend because I've been in a situation where I didn't have a car and I wish somebody would have gave me a ride, i.e. family. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But anyway, that's kind of the answer I would have liked to have gotten, because it's not necessarily rejection because I didn't say I liked him. I just found him attractive. Now, I do like him. I think he's cute. I really do. I really do. Do I see myself being his girlfriend? No. No. Do I see him being my F-boy? Excuse me, not my F-boy. My F-buddy? If God gave me the go-ahead, I would take full advantage. Hey, I'm being honest, okay? I'm being honest. Being very honest. I would take full advantage of it, and I would be enjoying every bit of it. I know I would be having a good time. Yeah. I'd have a really good time. I'd have a really good time. Yeah. 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 No, I would really, anyway, we already know I would be having a good time. What was I talking about? Oh, I think that would have just, regardless, I got the answer, but I got the answer I needed. I just didn't get the answer I wanted. And for a person that has never really gone out with anyone, like, this is the first time I'm actually making this statement. I'm not a virgin anymore. I lost my virginity at like 27 years old. There's parts of me that regrets it. And then there's also parts of me that wishes I would have been stronger in my conviction. Maybe not conviction, but there's a part of me that wishes I would have stood my ground and not done it. And there's still parts of me that's like, oh no, like I'm a born again virgin, and it's like, I mean now, yeah, because I haven't been with anybody sexually for 3 years now, in like actual intercourse. So you might as well say I'm technically, but not really. But that's a whole nother thing. But anyway, I was bringing that up for a reason, because it correlates with what I'm trying to convey. Dang, I lost my thought. And it was a good thought too. Dang, I can't even think. Well, I mean, I can think, but I can't pinpoint my reasoning of bringing that up. Oh, okay. So I'm a virgin. And even the guy that I lost my virginity to didn't really pursue me. Um, and the guy that I was kind of fooling around before I lost my virginity to this other guy, I don't, he, you ask him, he would probably say he was pursuing me, but I wasn't attracted to him. And, you know, a lot growing up before I lost my virginity, I was never looked at as a girlfriend or somebody that could be pursued. Like my best friend, she has the body, she got the booty, she's small, she's hippie, you know, she has a big butt, she has a her voice is higher, she's very girly. She she has long hair. You know, I've cut my hair many of times, and she to me would be the ideal woman that gets pursued or that men go for. Whereas you look at me, I'm tall, I have a deep voice, um I got boobs, I don't got no butt, or I do got a butt, but it's a muscle butt. There's a little something back there. There's a little something back there, but it's not like it's not the ideal butt that you would think. Um, but it's back there. But I always feel like if we put me and her side by side, that guys would more than likely approach her before they would approach me. And that's always been something in my life where a lot of guys didn't really talk to me. Or shall I say, it's not that they didn't talk to me, it was that they never really pursued me. They never really was interested in being more than just friends. And that wrecked, well, it didn't wreck, but it hindered my self-confidence because, you know, I'm attracted to men. I'm not attracted to women. And growing up, a lot of people projected that because I wasn't like dating guys, or you know, I didn't really speak about like my crushes on guys or anything like that, like they thought, oh, and I, you know, I dressed tomboyish, you know, I had my hair in braids, I didn't wear makeup, I didn't wear dresses, I didn't wear heels, I didn't like skirts, I didn't like this, I didn't like that. Some of my clothes were baggy. A lot of people assumed I was gay just because of those things. I didn't follow the norms. I wasn't dating like the other girls in my school, and I wasn't expressing interests in boys like the girls at my church, or the women at the church, or just in general. So they had this perception of me. And I always knew, like, no. I mean, no. I mean, I'm watching porn with women in it, but it's not like I'm interested in them. I'm interested in him. I'm trying to figure. No, I'm just kidding. um, but anyway, I say all that to say, I just growing up, I of course had crushes on dudes, and they didn't have a crush on me, or they didn't like me. They just liked me as a friend. So it's always, oh yeah, that's Kelsey, she's the homie. And it's like, I mean, yeah, but I don't want to be the homie right now. I want to be, like, I want to be looked at as more than a homie. I want to be looked at as somebody that's desirable, you know, in a right way, you know? And again, he didn't have to say that, but it would have been nice if that's how he would have put it. Like, hey, I like you as a friend, and I'm not ready for a relationship, but I do think that you're really cool and I would like to get to know you more so outside of work. And even if it, like I said, even if it would have just been us continuing to be friends, I would have taken that. Even the dude that I fooled around with last year, we never really went on a date. The only thing that we got close to a date was when I went over to his house and made food for us for 4th of July. And then we just had steaks, mashed potatoes, and green beans. And we just stayed in the house. We watched TV. We didn't really go anywhere. And it was another thing of where I would take him home from work. And as much as he said that he liked me, I just don't think that he had plans of it being more than just what it was. And that was the first time that a guy actually told me that he liked me, that he thought I was cute, or that he thought that I was attractive. And granted, you can say those other 2 times of the guys that I dealt with, you could say that maybe they did express attraction, but I feel like that attraction was, well, one of them was more so of the agenda of lust, of him just wanting to get what he wanted and to dip out and just, that's it. And the other one, it was more so of, yeah, he was expressing attraction, but he was not trying to put like the emotion behind it or whatever. I don't know. But with this one, I believed that he actually liked me. And that's the first time I ever felt it. Well, that's the first time I ever believed it. And like I said, that didn't end well. And that's okay. That's definitely okay. And this time with Dimples, I'm realizing that even if it doesn't lead to us dating or being more than anything, I think what I would like is something along that line of the answer I gave myself of, hey, like, I would like to get to know you more outside of work. That's the answer I would have wanted. And even though I didn't get it, it's still okay, because he's not my person, and that's fine. I'm just kidding. I'm not. I was trying to like pretend cry, but and that's fine. It really is, because honestly, it's getting me closer to my husband. And who knows, he might be the last, or maybe not the last, but he might be that last hurdle that I have to go through in order for my husband to make a way. Now, I say that, And I'm not saying that I'm going to see my husband tomorrow. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, I'm not necessarily jumping through hoops to hurry up and become a wife and hurry up and become a husband, or hurry up and find a husband. I'm still single, and I enjoy singleness to a degree. But it would be nice to share moments, and like tonight, just talking to some. It would be nice to have a companion, somebody at the end of the day where I can talk to them and just do that whole, oh, how was your day? Or, oh, you look so nice tonight. And, oh, you look so beautiful. And then just rub up and just cuddle up against them. They kiss my little forehead, and I kiss their cheek and kiss the chin. But just to have that companion, just to have that companionship, that's what I really want. Or that's what I desire, is just a companionship. Somebody that I can come to, either, even though I live by myself, but just having somebody to come home to, or even just coming home or even getting off of work and calling the person and just talking, or even just being like, hey, how was your day? And just loving on them and all that stuff. And a lot of people would probably say, just get a pet. No. I don't want a pet. I want to be petted. But kind of going back, because I didn't really finish the statement. I've never really went out on a date before, like a genuine date, to where it's like a mutual, hey, I'm interested, you're interested, let's see where this goes type of thing. Because, like I said, the first guy that I was kind of messing around with, I particularly say that we didn't date. He never took me out on a date. Maybe, I would say one time I took him out on a date. Well, he took me out on a date. But like for my birthday, I don't consider that being a date, because that's my birthday and we were friends. I assumed that we was just hanging out for my birthday as friends. And what happened after that was what happened. And maybe that's just my twisted way of thinking. I don't know. But I've never been out on a date before. A proper date. I'll say that. I've never been out on a proper date before. So even getting that aspect of, if that's how he would have answered it, I would have been fine with that, because again, it probably wouldn't have made us fall in love with each other that night or whatever we was doing, but it would have been nice to have gotten that experience of, well, I like us being the way that we are, and I'm not really ready for a relationship, but I would like to see where it goes. Even that, just being intentional, that would have been nice. But I take it at face value. I had to pray today, because it was getting to the point where I was almost obsessing over this dude. Or not necessarily him, but just obsessing over, like, oh no, he's going to ask me. He's going to ask me out on a date. He's going to ask me to his house. We're going to be doing it. Like literally. And I mean, granted, I'm still kind of in heat, but like not as much as I was last week, because last week it was bad. But, you know, my brain was just like, oh, you know, it's so hard to explain unless you're in it. But it, I was literally obsessing over it. And I was like, God, please take this idea away from me. Because one, if it is true, then let it be. But if it's not true, take it away. Because I don't want to obsess over it. I don't want to make it an idol. And I don't want to put myself through that, because here I am having expectations and he doesn't meet them. And then I feel discouraged, and then I'm holding it against him. And it's like, girl. And even like, I was like, man, you know, if he asked me to come in, you know, I'm gonna come in and we're gonna do this. Like, it was really obsession, a form of obsession. Maybe not obsession, but it was a little extreme. Even I was like, girl, like, calm down. But and I had to sit with that and be like, you know, even if that was to occur, he hasn't done anything to even earn it. Even old boy that I lost my virginity to, he hasn't done anything to even earn it. Like, yeah, he paid for dinner that one time. He came and saw me that one time. Yeah, he did my work for me that one time. One time. There's dudes out here doing things multiple times and ain't getting near nothing. But yet this dude that does it one time, and you just ready to, hey, no. And I'm not saying that one time isn't enough. Well, in my case, one time isn't enough. But like, I'm not saying that, you know, that one time, let's say a person pulls out the chair for this woman and she decides to sleep with him. That one time he pulled out the chair. Then he keeps pulling out the chair. Okay, well, that's a good example of a one time. But in this case, it was like I said, one time just buying me food. Okay, I can do that myself. My dad can buy me food. But are you consistent? Are you intentional? Do you like me? Truly. Not like me just so you can get what you want, but like, do you like me? Do you trust me? Do you find me trustworthy? Do I seem sincere? Are you sincere? Are you prideful? Like, you know, are you emotionally ready to have a relationship? Like, can you be vulnerable enough to put yourself into a relationship? Because at the end of the day, you get in a relationship with somebody, you have to be vulnerable. There's going to be parts of you that is going to be vulnerable. There's going to be parts of you that's going to want to cry. There's going to be times where you want to be sad and you don't want to be the strong person in the relationship. There's going to be times where you're going through a bout of depression, and if you don't trust your partner to, one, hold you accountable or even hold space for you, then that's not somebody that you should be with. But like, the things that I wish I would have saw, and it's not, I think I saw it and I just wanted to ignore it. But this time around, I don't want to ignore it. And that's why I'm like, girl. But like I said, I prayed to God and was like, take the taste out of my mouth, take the thoughts away. Like, yes, this dude is fine. Yes, he's cute. Yes, he's got the dimples. Yes, he is my type. But if he's not making an effort, or if he just wants it to stay where it is, then let it be. Because me being in my head and thinking and having these thoughts is not helping me. It's hindering me, honestly. Because one, it's just thoughts. It's not anything that he's doing it'd be different if he was giving me flowers, taking me out, or, well, maybe not. He was giving me flowers. He was making me feel special. He was making me, feel like I was the only girl on earth that he cared about, or the only woman on earth that he cared about. And he was he was presenting himself this way. He was doing the things, and I was feeling this way. That's different. But he's not even doing that. He's not even doing the bare minimum. And yet I'm obsessing over it like he is. That's what I have an issue with. And I was like, God, just take it away from me. Take it away. Take it away. I don't want it. And I mean it, because I don't want to go through that cycle again. I'd rather be obedient. I'd rather be obedient and sad rather than not to be obedient and happy. I don't know if I said that right, but either way it go, just take it away. And it's gone away. Now, I'm not saying that it's a process. It's not that I don't think about it, but it's a process of, sooner or later it'll fully go away. But yeah, so that's Dimples. So that'll be in my book. But and I'll leave it at this, because I was talking to one of my other coworkers at work, and he's a Mormon. I'm Christian. And we always talk about like faith and God and things like that, and our beliefs and things of that nature. And I don't know how we got on the topic. I really don't. A lot of things that I talk about, I don't know how we get on the topic, but we just get there and we talk about it. But he was discussing a coworker that works at our job, and he was saying that him and his girlfriend, they've been dating for a while, and the thought of them moving in came up. So, me and Joe, the guy that is Mormon, and we talk about religion and stuff, we were talking, and he made a comment and was like, life is short. You guys are in your 30s. Like, why wouldn't you guys, talking about, the other coworker and their girlfriend, why wouldn't you guys just move in? Like, things are getting pretty serious. Life is short. And I was telling Joe, I said, that's where I struggle with the most. And I'm not saying that, I'm not saying like in a sex standpoint, because there is a part of me that's like, I am 30 years old, and yes, I did have sex before my time. And there are some things that I do regret about it. But it's happened, and I can't go back and change it. I sure wish I could. But there's actually a lot of things I wish I could change. But Um, in this aspect, I guess Dimples did kind of try to convince me. No, he tempted. And I could have taken the bait. I really could have. And anyway, I was telling Joe, I said, I think that's that's what I struggle with the most, because there is a part of me that does want to live. There's a part of me that wants to just see what happens and go from there. And like whether that's sex, whether that's charging up my credit card, whether that's being irresponsible in certain things, like I want to do that because, I want to say that I lived life respectfully. But like there's a part of me that wants to say that I lived life. And there's also a part of me that's like, if I do that, I'm not being wise. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I was being obsessive with dude and being like, oh, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. And like, what? Girl, he hasn't even done anything to he hasn't even done anything to even make you even want to do that for him. So why are you obsessing over it? But, and it's not just him, but, well, I guess technically it is him. But I feel like the only reason why it's him is because he's the only one that's like around. So it's technically proximity. But, so I'm going to New Orleans this year. That's another thing my Holy Spirit told me. This was like, I want to say the beginning. It's been months ago, but I don't even know. I don't know if it was like March or April or May, somewhere around there. But my Holy Spirit said, you're going to New Orleans. And I'm like, huh? I mean, I'm not saying I don't trust you. I'm just saying, like, the way things are looking right now, I mean, that's a long shot. But I trust you, though. If you say that that's going to happen, it's going to happen. And it is. I'm going to New Orleans in December. I'm excited about it. And so there's a reason why I was bringing that up. But I'm going to New Orleans this December. But like doing that, like living life and enjoying life. And even though like going out, because I'm going to be in New Orleans for 24 hours and then I'm coming back home, which I did that with Chicago. And I had such an amazing time in Chicago. Definitely going back, probably more so in the summer, because the last time I went, it was in October. But like, I made it a point, or I made a commitment to myself, or I made a promise to myself that I was at least going to travel to 2 different places, at least 2 different places every year. So last year it was Houston / Dallas, and it was Colorado. The year before that, it was Oklahoma, and it was Chicago. And I can't remember the other year before that. I can't remember, but for the last 2 to 3 years, I've been going to at least 2 different states and cities, and just spending time, having a good time. Excuse me. This year it's St. Louis and New Orleans. I've been to St. Louis before when I was younger, but this time I went as an adult, and that was literally a 24-hour thing too. Even though technically it was supposed to be like a 3-day thing, I just didn't feel comfortable because I lost my credit card. But that's a whole nother story. That's probably something I'll probably talk about later on down the line. But um, yeah. So you know, doing that, living life, um, and I'm not saying that when you accept God in your life or you start living for God or you want to be righteous or live a righteous life that you're not going to live. But there is a part of me that is having that struggle of like, well, the world is telling me that, I need to save up my money. I need to do these extravagant things. I need to um like have the best of the best. I need these experiences. I need to be having sex. I need to be having my heart broken. I need to be having, relationships with these people that, are doing extravagant things or are doing these big things in the community or just et cetera, et cetera. And for me, I'm struggling more so with the relationship part of like wanting to have sex, wanting to go out there and date, um, allowing men to show me a good time. Even like I'm trying to think of an example. Like even charging up my credit card, like paying off my credit card, or yeah, paying, just like spending like these worldly things. That's what I'm struggling with. But I told Joe, I said that's where I have that conflict, that internal conflict of wanting to do right, but then also wanting to live life. And I'm not saying that I can't correlate with both, but it's just more so of I'm leaning more towards this and not this, even though this is what I want. Like I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to like, but this is still holding on and pulling on me. So that's where I'm like, I need to be better at, or at least reframe my way of thinking about it. So, yeah. And like I said, I think a lot of us are having that struggle. But I'm, I would rather be obedient. I want to be obedient. And from past experiences, me taking it into my own hands has not worked well. I can say that for a fact. So when my Holy Spirit says right, I'm going right. I'm not going left. There might be times where I do go left, but I'm like, dang, should have went right. All right, I'm getting sleepy, and plus I done talked enough. So one more thing before I go, I don't know what is to come about this. These videos that I'm posting, I don't know. I did post on TikTok for a while, and I'm not posting on TikTok anymore. Like, that's neither here nor there. Every once in a while, I probably will. Like, once this new book comes out, I'll probably post. But I ain't got nothing. But I don't know what is to come about these videos. And I say that in pretty much every video. But I really do hope that I'm able to speak to somebody that might not be fully aware of what to do next, or just maybe they are going through what I'm going through, which is that limbo of liking somebody, but then they not liking you, but also you have feelings towards this person, or you want to experience a relationship or even just dating, or even just being pursued, intentionally pursued. And even if it doesn't necessarily lead to marriage, it's just something. Just to say that, like, this is a possibility and there's people that's actually looking at you and actually seeing, like, hey, you got a girl, that confidence boost. But other than that, till next time, I will be seeing you. And till the next video, I'll probably either not have these braids, I'll probably have different hair in my head, but I will say I look good. I like the braids. My friend, she did a good job. She did a really good job. So, all right. Till next time. Bye.